Hi, my name is Rabbi Yosef Tropper, and I thank you so much for joining me. This is Parshas Balak, and my goal here is to convey a beautiful and meaningful and short Dvar Torah, which will be thought-provoking and something that will be well worth pondering. This week is sponsored as a Zechus Refuah Shlema for my wife's grandmother, Chava Bas Leah Rivka, may she have a Refuah Shlema, and for a Refuah Shlema for Dov Ben Chaya as well. I want to talk about the donkey. That's what this week's Parsha seems to revolve around very much. And we have Bilam, who was hired by Balak to curse the Jewish nation. And the Pasuk spends a lot of time talking about Bilam's donkey. The Pasuk says, Perek Chav Beis, Pasuk Chav Gimel, Vaterha Asan es Malach Hashem. The donkey saw the angel of Hashem, and we know the famous story that the donkey spoke up and actually communicated with Bilam. And there's a lot of give and take between them, and the Pasuk spends a lot of time talking about this donkey. What does this mean? What's this all about? It's interesting. Are we just trying to mock him? Why is there so much talk about a donkey? We also find that the Gemara in Sanhedrin 98a tells us that when Mashiach comes, he will come as someone riding on a donkey. So again, we have this concept of a donkey. What is it? Historically, we also find that when Avraham took Yitzchak to the Akedah, he was riding a donkey, and the Pasuk tells us. And when Moshe came to Egypt to go rescue the Jews by Hashem's command, he was also riding on a donkey. And Chazal even tie the three donkeys together that they say that the donkey that Avraham rode to the Akedah and the donkey that Moshe rode to Egypt and the donkey that Mashiach will ride is the same one. So there's something very significant going on between all these donkeys. How do we explain this? I believe that the first place to begin is Perek Shira. In Perek Shira, there's a song for all the animals and many of the objects throughout the earth. And the Shira for the song for the donkey, the Chamar, is a very interesting one. It's a pasuk in Divrei Yamim 1, 29, 11, and it's a very famous one. L'cha Hashem ha'gedula v'gevura v'tiferes v'netzach v'ahod ki kol ha'shamayim v'aretz l'cha Hashem ha'amlacha. And there is a expression here that the commentators and Chazal tell us that this pasuk is the ultimate expression of God's presence on this world. It talks about His chesed, His kindness, and it talks about His gevurah, His strength. This pasuk encapsulates everything about all of His midos of Hashem, with the climax being the kingship of Hashem, which is the most powerful expression. So it's very interesting that, once again, the donkey is saying this song. Now, what's more interesting and fascinating about this is that the Maral tells us that the word chamar comes from the shoresh, the word donkey, chamar, comes from the root of chomer, which means physicality. So the donkey is, so to speak, the most physical of all the animals. So why is he saying the most exalted song? But the explanation, according to the Ramchal, Moshe Chaim Lozado and Das Tunas, is exactly this point. That from the lowest creature, from the lowest being, comes the ultimate expression and recognition and kingship of Hashem. And the donkey, which represents the physicality, is the ultimate expression of when even the donkey could see the spirituality of the world and God, so to speak. That is the ultimate expression of greatness. And let's explain this and develop this further. What we find is that Chazal tell us that Avraham, Moshe, and Mashiach all rode and will ride, in the case of Mashiach, the exact same donkey. What is being said is that the physical will be so purified and turned into spiritual that even the lowliest creature of the donkey, the physical, the one that represents physicality, will come to recognize Hashem. And that's specifically why the donkey sings the song of Hashem. It's an expression that even from the lowest place comes the deepest recognition. And the Ramchal develops this theme to a very deep way, that he explains that the more darkness there is in this world, and the more sometimes things look like they're missing Hashem's presence, but the greater revelation there is when it's shown that Hashem's presence is really there. And what this means is that, in a practical sense, all the confusion of this world becomes clarified, that really Hashem is always there the whole time, and the people that had Emunah, that believed it and learned to see it, are the ones that recognized it to the deepest level. What Bilam did was that Bilam wanted to curse the Jewish nation. He was a lowly person. He was an unrefined person, the Mishnah always tells us. He was a perverted person, the Gemara tells us in Sanhedrin, in many, many ways. And he came, and even he had to admit that I can't say anything without Hashem's permission. I can only give a blessing. And he gave the most beautiful and the most strong expression of Matovu Alecha Yaakov, the most beautiful prophetic song that came from the lowliest creature. And so therefore, this idea that the donkey is the lowliest creature and it is involved with the greatest expression of Hashem is a powerful and relevant theme in our lives. That anytime it seems like things are dark, we're in Gullus right now, the fast of Shiva Asar Tammuz, the 17th of Tammuz, mourning the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash and the exile that we're now in and have been in for thousands of years, is something that represents darkness. But from that darkness, we believe that the greatest light and the greatest revelation of Hashem's kingship will come. And we look forward to that very soon. And that is the revelation of the donkey coming to even the lowly creatures are able to recognize and bless Hashem. I thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you and your family a beautiful Shabbos. I welcome all questions and comments and sponsorships as well. Thank you so much.